Mike, how do you recruit your panel?
Well, we've started with what I would consider to be traditional recruitment, right? Traditional recruitment is we recruit via online sample. So on one hand, we're using online advertising networks. We are also using traditional sample vendors that we all know and love, and they recruit from panels and they recruit from other sources. And we've got a stable of actually about 8 vendors, all of whom are sending people to us using slightly different methodologies. And the good part about that is that even without balancing and weighting, we're actually getting a reasonably representative sample of the online smartphone population. So we start with that. That's our beginning recruitment. For a single source panel, it's so critical to make sure that you have a broad swath of people. It's also critical to make sure that you have enough people. So in order to both grow the panel and maintain the diversity that's required, we're also introducing, I can't talk a ton about it yet, but we're also introducing a new recruitment methodology where basically we're going to be giving a discount on cell phone service for our panelists in return for participating. The good news there is we like the alignment between the give-get. We're asking you to do something with your cell phone, so we're going to give you a discount on that cell phone service. And the good news for the panelists is that the value of that is pretty high. It's a reasonably significant discount. And the cost to us is somewhat less, so the arbitrage value is good. And the reason that that's important is it allows us to grow the panel, right? Because the less money costs us to recruit, the bigger we can make the panel. But we're doing that while trying to preserve diversity and representativeness.
And how big is your panel right now?
As of today, it's about 6,500 individuals in the U.S. It's probably closer to 7,000 devices because we try to recruit multiple devices per individual. Our goal is to get to at least over 7,000 by the close of the year, continue growing to 10,000 next year, and then continue more than that. And again, we spend a lot of time focusing on panel economics, panel growth, panel representativeness, because we're researchers. We're not just a technology firm. We're researchers, and it matters to us. It's important to us, and it's important to our clients.
Mike, it seems to me that the way you're treating ACR, that you have a great out-of-home capability. Can you talk a little bit about any possible plans for that?
Sure. One of we agree with you. One of the powerful things about a mobile device that is capturing sound samples is you can capture out-of-home media consumption, whether it be cinema, radio, TV, right? Ambient advertising, you can potentially capture that. The first problem you run into is the amount of noise. And the second problem you run into is, where is the person? So there are solutions for some of it. One is, in terms of the ambient noise, while it's not perfect, we have found that especially with more modern phones, ACR is quite good at picking up out of home. My favorite example is I was at a barber shop, and there was a TV with ESP on in the corner, and I was probably 30, 40 feet away. People were talking, chatting, cutting hair, what have you. I left the barber shop, took my phone out of my pocket, and lo and behold, it had captured what I was watching. So it does absolutely lend itself to potential out of home. The second question, like I said, is where is the person? So great, they watch TV out of home. Where were they? Were they in a bar? Were they at a guest's home? Something like that. One of the powerful things about mobile devices is they typically have location capabilities, right? GPS or wireless location. We need to be careful about that, both from a privacy perspective and from a technology perspective. The privacy perspective is really obvious, which is people don't want to be tracked. We are we do ask for permission to use GPS as part of our panel agreement. People do know that we're grabbing their location data. Location data is not anything that our clients can see. That's considered PII and stored similarly. The other thing is the more geolocation fixes you take, the worse it is for battery life. So we have to be more judicious about that. So we're still working out what's the right balance. We've tested, more frequent fixes. We have tested less frequent fixes. For certain, it's pretty easy to get. This was at home because we know when someone's at home, and this is out of home. So just that dichotomy, this is what a person viewed out of the house, this is what they viewed in the house, that we can do now. And that, for starters, really isn't bad. That's helpful.
What are sort of some of the challenges that you're facing rolling this out?
Well, the overall challenge we face is that people use their mobile device for other things other than metering, which means they make phone calls, they watch videos, they take it to the beach, they do other things with it besides what we want them to do. The implications of that are that, for example, when someone's making a phone call, we are not able to capture sound samples. If someone charges the phone and doesn't bring it with them, we may not get all of what they're doing. Those sorts of issues are challenges that we have to work through. Some of them are not so bad, meaning if someone's on the phone, for example, they're probably paying more attention to the phone call than they are, say, the TV. And since we try to get multiple devices in a household, we might have a tablet that's capturing the sound sample too, and we can integrate the two. So some of those things are workarounds. We also know things like, is the device on, is the device off? So we can do compliance monitoring and saying, hey, you need to turn your device on. So we know things like that. We are also thinking about using things like proximity sensors and gyroscopes and things like that to figure out, is the device more stationary than we would expect? Is it actually being carried by the individual, right? So there are things you can do to improve compliance. From our perspective, though, some of these things are what we would call edge cases, because we're not in the ratings business. We are in the advertising effectiveness business, and the standard's different, right? We're not producing TV ratings. What we are trying to do is say this person was likely to have seen this TV ad this many times. You need less information to do that than to say, here is a count, here is a projection of all the people that watch this TV show, in the United States, right? There's different bars. So focusing on what we're doing, which is ad effectiveness, we think that the mobile solution works really well and better than what's out there. It's better than, for whatever flaws it has, we think it's better than stated, more flexible, provides more information. So, nothing's perfect, but this is better.